Everyone. Cool. So on this training, just looking to see who's here. Perfect. Cool. So what we're going to do is, man, we're going to keep on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're just going to keep these standing trainings. We might even there's talk about like if you're old like me, like if you went to a restaurant, there used to be like a suggestion box in a restaurant where you could like write down a suggestion and like put it in there. Like I feel like we're going to be creating something like that for trainings. These trainings should really be no secret, right? These trainings are for you guys, right? They're for the agents on our real estate team. This isn't like, I don't hop on these because I want to yell about real estate for an hour every Thursday. So like what happens is we need, especially when you're newer, we need a lot of time belly to belly. Cristiano's calls it like spray teaching or spray coaching because you're like yelling, spinning people. Like you're so close that you can feel it, right? So like that's kind of where we're at, especially with this group, right? And it's cool. I've got 3 people here that have like specific questions that they've asked in Slack or texted to me or whatever. And what happens is when you guys are in this organization, again, man, the secret to this whole real estate thing was no one ever knew how to find a deal or how to find a lead or whatever, or talk to a consumer. And we don't have that problem. Now we just got to figure out how to control them and get them to the closing table, right? And that's very, very, very tricky, right? And so in the beginning, it's just like anything else, right? There's just a lot of one-on-one stuff, right? So so these trainings, when you guys have stuff that you want to talk about, and we're gonna have these 2 standing appointments where we're gonna talk about these things. So I'm gonna dive into a couple things. First thing is if you're on Zillow Flex, if you haven't been on Flex yet, or you're transitioning to Zillow Flex, I can't. Let me share my screen. Actually, here we go. Can anybody tell me what this thing is?
It's the Zillow secret script.
Yeah, Adria said script. I saw her mouth it. Yeah, guys, just follow it. On Monday's Power Up, we put the people that successfully set appointments and met with people. And does anyone know what every single person said they did to go meet that person?
They follow the script.
That's right. Well, not you, Lauren, but
I
like
know.
100%. So, guys, this is it. I don't control the my boss at Zillow. Listen to the calls. If this isn't followed, if we're like, hey, Mike, okay, cool. Hey, do you like cheeseburgers? It's over. It's not going to work. Like, it's not going to work. And I don't have a decision. I can't do anything about it. Right. It's going to be like, okay. So like, I don't care what they look like. I don't care where they live. I don't care. Do we get into a relationship on the phone or do we get in a relationship when we meet them? Someone tell me, please. Adria, you can unmute yourself. You're allowed.
When we meet them.
Oh, do we have everyone muted?
Yeah.
Okay.
In person.
In person, yeah. So if I hear you asking about what their favorite baseball team is, if it's just not, and it's not me, guys, it's not going to work. So this is the script. Follow it. The phone call should be 3 minutes or less. That's a perfect phone call, right? If you ask them like, hey, do you like guacamole? It's not going to work, right? Zillow's not going to be psyched. So this is the script for OpCity, Ojo, anyone that comes in, right? Remember, this is the age of people don't want to talk to you. Does that make sense, right? The nurturing leads, like the Facebook leads, the YLOPOs, those things, just so you guys know the numbers, those take about 600 days. When someone starts searching on the internet to the point where they want to talk to someone, the average is 600 days. So when you have someone like Zillow Flex who like connects you with someone, those people have been like in their world for 600 days on average. Is that insane? So when they come in, they don't want to talk to you. They don't want to have a conversation. Like, just run through the script, please. One thing that we're finding on the calls that's really, really helping is on that first line, that first introduction line, hello, blank. This is blank with the Joe Oz Real Estate Group. I saw you highlighted 123 Main Street on Zillow.com. When did you want to go see that one? Saying the word today right after, like just ending that with the word today is helping people set that appointment faster, quicker, within 48 hours. And also, you know, and when I'm talking to you guys, I'm coaching and I'm in masterminds with Zillow Flex teams around the country, right? So I'm not just bringing back to you guys what I learned from, what I learned this week from our team, I'm bringing back to you guys what everyone is struggling with, right? And so like we always talk about our struggles openly, because if I'm struggling with it, do you think that someone else in the team might be struggling with it or might struggle with it in the future and be more prepared? So what's happening is people are scheduling things 4 days out, 3 days out. And what's happening to those houses?
Fly off the market.
Yeah. So they're just not available. So if we say the word today, they're probably going to meet you today. On average, I'll bet money on this. They say 4:30 or 5:30 today. They're just going to go right after work, right? And then you can get in front of them. Okay. So that's my PSA for the day. Just follow the script to a T, or else it doesn't work. Like that's pretty much it. And does anyone here know what LP Mama is? Cool.
No.
Good. Don't ever learn it. So
location, price, motivation.
Yeah. Jason, you took your last call through all that. Don't do that. So, dude, they don't want to talk to you. They don't care. Like, just go. We're just going to go and meet them, right? Does anyone have any questions about that? Because that's the number one. So again, if you go, this is public, right? If you listen to Zillow's first quarter earnings call, the number one lead indicator of closing a transaction from a Zillow lead is what? What do they say needs to happen? What's the number one indicator of us being able to work with someone that calls through on Zillow?
Face-to-face appointment.
Someone said, say it again, face-to-face appointment, right? I think that was Ethan, right? Yeah. If we just go meet them, if our body gets in front of their body in live action, we have an 80% chance of working with them, right? Has everybody got that? Cool. So, hold on, I have a couple other notes here. So yeah, the today thing is really going to help. Remember, guys, this is a game of inches, right? Do you guys want like every possible advantage you possibly can have to winning? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah, we all want to win, right? We want to have every single advantage. And also on the script, this is what people are missing, right? This sentence right here, this script is, it's how do I say this, man? It's just perfectly curated, right? Like it's a piece. I always call it like jazz music, right? It's just like perfect, right? It's just like kind of flows and it's awesome. This sentence, when did you want to go and see that one? That's an assumptive close, right? Please do not say, oh, did you want to go see that one? Does that make sense, you guys? Like they do. Let's just assume they want to go see it. Let's get in front of them, right? And then what people are missing like crazy is just this, people are not setting the appointment, right? Like, here's what happens. You're going to set a definitive appointment with this person. What does that mean? Someone tell me what that means. You're going to set a definitive appointment with this person, no matter what.
Something with a defined time, date, and where you're going to be.
Correct. Joe, do we give a shit? We don't know if the house is available or not at this point, do we? We don't know if the house could be on fire, correct? 123 Banana Street can be on fire while I'm on the phone setting an appointment with you. Is that correct?
Correct.
But if we can set an appointment and nail their feet down to the ground, do we have a really great opportunity of meeting that person that wants to buy a house?
Right.
Absolutely.
We explain to them that it's on fire after they get there and they see the rubble, and then say, well, this one's no longer available for anybody. Let's show you this one here.
You're gonna be like, well, it's in flames. But by the way, I'm Joe Osachak. I brought two more. Why don't we get out of here before the fire?
It's on fire. We only have 5 offers now on the table.
Yeah, man. And so what we learn, and here's the thing, because I've experienced this. If you feel uncomfortable setting the appointment, whether the house is available or not available or whatever, if you feel uncomfortable, don't take the calls. Don't be in the program. Does that make sense? Who here has experience with meeting someone at a house where the house wasn't available and it like, you're like glad you did or it worked out? Danielle, can you share a story with us of a time you met someone when the house wasn't available?
So I met a buyer. The house was already under contract. And I couldn't find anything else in the area, but I still met her there. And Sam Marks at the time was in the process of doing a home inspection on a house that he was maybe buying for himself. I got on the phone with Joe and I'm like, Joe, what do I do? He got me into a house that wasn't even technically on the market anymore. And I just showed it to the person just to make the connection, just to get her to look at to make the connection, basically. So we went into a house that wasn't even available. And I'm still working with her today. She hasn't bought anything yet, but we are still working together.
Cool. Did that person call the police on you or try to murder you or hurt you in any way?
No, I just explained to her when I got there that I'm sorry, the agent just called me and said they just went into attorney review. We can't get in. But I have another property to show you.
And now you're in a relationship with them and you're showing them houses. Is that correct?
Correct.
That's awesome. Thanks, Danielle. Ethan, do you have a similar experience by any chance that you could share?
Yeah, I had one yesterday. The home they called in was a for sale by owner, and they pretty much weren't picking up the phone. I got on the phone with him, and then he took it off the market and wouldn't let us in. I ended up meeting with him, brought some other properties. This one turned out, I met him out front and tried to build a relationship. He pretty much didn't even want to go see the other ones. He just specifically wanted to see that one. He was looking to put it in cash under the listing price, get a deal, which he's not going to get, but it's worth it. I'll say that.
Awesome. Thanks, Ethan. Cool, guys. So guys, do this. So set a definitive appointment. So what that means is, hey, when do you want to go see the house? Tomorrow at 9:30? Perfect. On your post-connection call checklist, can someone tell me what the last thing on there is? What's the last thing on the post-call checklist?
Five-star review.
No, the post-connection checklist.
Oh.
This is called this is called letting the silence do the heavy lifting.
Contact your team lead.
Yes, who said that?
Me, Joe.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Cool. All right. I can't see my screen. Joe, perfect. Yeah. So guys, when you're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. The house is on fire. It's not available. Just call me. We'll sort it out. Does that make sense? Right. So if you're like asking the consumer, like do you want to go at this time? Or what do you think? Or, I'll check with this. People are coming through Zillow because they feel like you are the resource. Right. Does that make sense? Yeah, no problem. Let's go ahead and set that. Cool. By the way, I'm going to bring a couple other ones that fit your criteria as well. This is all making sense, everybody. So this is I know this is simple stuff, but if you have the the consumer is calling a stranger on the internet. The call has to end with this. It has to end with number 7. Perfect. Thanks again. My name is Joe, Premier Agent at the Joe Oz Real Estate Group. I look forward to seeing you Tuesday at noon. At the end of these phone calls, because I listen to all of them, you guys, right? And when they go sideways, I have to talk to someone at Zillow about it, right? Right. So like, do you guys think I like talking to someone at Zillow about it? Because they'll be like, so what happens is at the end of the calls that are not followed, that the script is not followed, the consumer they ask your name again, and then they ask if they're confused. They don't know if they're meeting you or not, right? Because somewhere in there you're saying like, okay, I'll set that up. I'm gonna text you, blah, blah, blah. But if you just do this recap, you set the appointment, pretend the easiest way to do this is assume that every house is available. It's vacant, the door is wide open. Just every house. Just if you assume that, right? Like if you assume like that's what's going to happen and you get to the end of this thing, we're going to go from there, right? Cool. Questions?
No.
Cool.
I have one question on just a general Zillow Flex one. So I think I haven't taken a call yet. Unfortunately, I did get one call yesterday, but like I said, I was just heading out to T-ball practice. So he said, if you can't answer it and give it the time it needs, don't answer.
Perfect.
When you answer the phone call, because obviously we saved the phone numbers, we know who it is. Will it automatically launch the app with the address so we know? Because that first sentence we're saying what property they're looking for. Where will we see that right away?
Yes.
Like what will I expect to see when the call is answered?
Danielle, you want to answer that?
Yeah, so when you answer it, it will say, hi, this is Alex, and then it will tell you to open the app. So it gives you, so I put my phone on speaker. So I put it to speaker and then I could switch over to the app. Why you just click it, it just pops up and then it will tell you the price of the house, the address of the house, the MLL listing. And
So
then
it
it
gives you a
connects you.
second before it connects it.
Yes,
to
it
the
gives you
client?
it gives you time to look at it. It's like 2-3 seconds, but enough time to definitely, yeah.
Okay,
And remember, guys, these calls are recorded. And if you think that Zillow has all the information, so you know what I mean? Like, and a lot of people are like confirming, like, hey, is this Mike? Doesn't matter. Hey, I saw you. It doesn't matter if it's Mike or Mary or whatever. Just set the appointment. Does that make sense? Right? Because guys, what I'm hearing people doing is they're going, oh, hi, is this Mary? Is that on the script?
No.
No. Cool. Someone tell me why that is on the script, because I gotta beat this home because it's happening, and I want, maybe I'm being, maybe like, I don't know, I want to make sure that I'm like hammering this home. Does anybody
Because-
guess? Go ahead.
You
Yeah.
want to be in charge of the conversation. You want to lead it.
Yes, 100%. When you ask them their name, what's the question they ask you back? They ask
Who
you-
is this?
So what happens is this, yeah, who is this, right? Hey, oh, hi. When you answer the call and you ask the first question, you go, hey, it's Mary. Mary's gonna go, oh yes, awesome, who is this? Now they have control of the conversation, just like Danielle's saying, right? And then you're like, oh, my name's Ethan. Then they instantly ask another question. They either ask you, what company do you work with? Or what's the other question they ask you?
Are you the listing agent?
100%, Danielle, thank you. So then are you on offense or are you on defense?
Defense.
Defense, and you're like, oh, well, I'm with EXP. And when you start explaining what EXP is or Keller Williams or whatever it is, it doesn't sound very smart. It sounds like a bamboozle. It sounds like a swindle. People get uncomfortable, right? And they're like, oh, because once you give them the ball, they're like, all right, cool. They're facing the basket and they're like, what company do you work for? Are you the listing agent? You're like trying to get the rebound, get the ball back. It's not awesome, right? So, I could train for 8 hours on this script, why it works, why every word is perfectly placed, why every pause is perfect. And I listened to a call Ethan did yesterday, and it was like, it was 2 minutes and 30 seconds. It was boom, 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 boom. Set the appointment's over. Like, it was done. There's no weirdness. And if you believe, does anyone here believe me? Like, I know, like, you're here, right? Does anyone believe, like, maybe I know what I'm talking about, right? And so I'm sitting here because I've seen people succeed at such a high level that it's changed their careers. And I've seen people just like, I've seen it slip through their fingers, right? If they don't meet you at your appointment, if you have a shitty call and they don't meet you at your appointment, it's because you had a shitty call. Does that make sense, you guys? This call is the anchor for the whole thing. So if you're like, well, I got to call the seller and, well, I work for EXP. Well, I can, dude, it's not, they're like, wait, who's this client? If something more important comes up, they're going to go do that other thing and cancel their appointment on you or not show up. Does that make sense, you guys? And you can believe me or you can not believe me, right? But like, that's what we've seen in the past. So when you go through the script perfectly and you sound like a professional hired by Zillow, they're going to show up at the appointment. So when the call is like, when you do like an okay call or it didn't go that great, I didn't really follow the script, what happens is they don't think you're awesome. When you say something like, hi, in about 24 hours, Zillow's going to call and reach out about the type of service I provided for you on this call. Is there anything I can do to make this a 5-star experience for you? Cool. Awesome. I'm looking forward to meeting you tomorrow at 9:30. Blah, 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 blah. When you get off that call, that person's like, all right, cool. I got an appointment. It's awesome. I'm going to keep that. That sounds legit. But when you fumble it, when you don't have control of the conversation, they don't show up. So in the beginning, we had a lot of no-shows. We were setting a lot of appointments and having a lot of no-shows. And I went back and listened to the calls, and I was like, the Zillow rep was like, well, they don't nail the script, the people aren't going to show up. It's just how it works. So cool. Any other questions about the script?
I have a question real quick.
You
So I'm not on the Zillow. Well, I haven't taken any calls yet, but I am starting with OpCity. So with OpCity, that comes through realtor.com, correct?
Correct.
So then we're just replacing Zillow with,
100%.
and then we're not talking about the survey.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not talking about
You're
the
just
survey.
closing with perfect. Thank you so much again. My name is blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And the reason why is Zillow understands their consumer at such a high level, right? Like the R&D department, right? Like the research and development department, there's a lot of money that goes into that, and that's what spits this stuff out. They understand their consumer, and that's why they give this to us, right? Obsidian and Realtor.com, it's a slightly different consumer, but you want to get through this as soon as possible and set the appointment. It's the same thing, man. It's 100% the same thing. And that's it. We concentrate on Zillow can be taken away from us, right? We can be penalized, and therefore every connection is extremely important. So again, guys, Zillow has a gun to my back, and then dance, monkey boy, dance, make revenue, or you're fired, right? So cool. That's that. Joe Lyons, you had a question in Slack today about raising a house. Did you want to address that right now?
Sure. I had a client that I've been working with, and he was looking in some of the affected areas after Sandy, like Keensburg and Union Beach. And in the listing, it specifically mentions that the house needs to be lifted. And I know from personal experience, when I was buying a house, my first house back in 2015, the CO was not granted because the seller did not lift. Like, I know tons of stuff has happened. Plenty of houses are not lifted in those affected areas. So it's obviously not mandatory, but is there a way that would the town grant a temporary CO and pursue them lifting it after the fact, or will the sale just be dead in the water if it's not lifted beforehand? I can't see how someone could sell a house. Someone who's buying the house isn't going to pay to lift it if they don't own the house yet. So what is the process? Does anybody have any information on that?
So the first thing I always do when there's something weird or something different about a house, who do you think should have that information at their fingertips?
I would assume the listing agent would. I mean, so I figured I'd ask here, but I guess it's a good way to break the ice and have a conversation with them to get the relationship started also.
Yeah, so that stuff always go back to the listing agent, right? And so
I just don't like going in like a noob and having questions and kind of giving the realtor the upper hand in that case, listing agent, if I'm not as well versed. So I wanted to go in with some information.
yeah, so I don't think we're sizing. So I'll share something with you guys. Like when I went to Orange County as a new agent, and I got very, very humble. I was like, hey, I don't know anything about this community. I'm showing your property. Is there anything you could tell me? And they're like, yeah, there's boat slips. There's a gate that you're going to need a code for. Like, calling agents. And by the way, I say this a lot in life and whatever, when you get humble or you get honest, you're just inviting the other person to meet you where you are, right? Like when you get honest, you're just inviting someone else to get honest. So most people are nice and they want to help, right? And if that was me, I'd be like, hey, you know what? I really have not. I saw the listing. I want to, by the way, I never say waste your time. That's like I never say waste your time. I say respect your time. Hey, I really want to respect your time and the seller's time. I want to make sure this is a good fit for my buyer. What should I know about raising the house and what that looks like? And I would be like, you know what? I've never sold a raised house. And Joe, what I know is this. What town is it in?
This one was in Keensburg.
Yeah, so every single town is different. Like Seaside's got a whole, like I just happen to know Seaside because we sold one there, and it was like, I'll make this kind of not quick, but basically what happened was a Sandy hit, right? And then the township was like, yo, everybody's got to raise their house, but not everybody has $150,000 to raise their house. Does that make sense? So like what happened is they can't really fine you and do things like that. And what they're doing is they're trying to put that on the next owner, and it just keeps being pushed back. Does that make sense? So there's like this impending thing that you have to lift your house. And the way they measure it is, I believe they call it, Lauren might know too. Lauren, do you remember this or no? Like substantial damage, right? So if your house got a letter, it's called a letter of substantial damage, then the house had to be raised by the township, right? And then also the other thing is it's a homeowner insurance thing, really, more than anything, right? So like when the person goes to buy the house, if you lift it, you don't have to pay you don't have to pay flood insurance. Does that make sense, right? Or it's very, very, very low. If you don't lift it, your flood insurance is astronomical. And that's really what the question turns into.
Yeah.
Danielle?
Also, you have to find out if they receive grant money. I showed a house in Bayville 2 weeks ago, and it needed to be raised, and the homeowner accepted a grant, but never did the process. So you have to watch that too. So there is a lot of red tape. So I would talk to the other agent, but I would also call the town.
Yeah, and when there's questions, that was awesome, Danielle. Thank you. When there's questions about like, oh, there's an easement from Verizon, a 3-foot easement on the. I remember the first house. Well, the first house I ever sold that was like it was like in Middletown. It was like 600 grand. I was like, oh my god, I've made it. I sold a $600,000 house in Middletown. I remember there was like an easement from Verizon, and I went to my team lead. I was like, what does this mean? He's like, means call the listing agent of the township or Verizon. I was like, okay, cool. Like, so when there's something weird, I would go to the source. And every single, like what Daniel's saying, every single town is just different. Does that make sense? Like every town's different. And the listing agent should have that information, right? You shouldn't have to go to the town and pull that information. Cool. Joe, where's Joe T? Joe, let's talk about your Zillow Flex person that came in.
So I came in, I got the appointment, and I called the listing agent. The house was active on the MLS, and I called the listing agent to confirm appointment and make sure everything was okay with it. And he came back at me and told me that it was offering acceptance and they're not showing it anymore. So I still have the appointment with the buyers. I just I don't have anything to show them right now.
Perfect. Did you ask by any chance, did you ask the listing agent if you could show it as a backup?
I did. He said no.
Awesome. Cool. Well, that's what you're supposed to do, right? And so this is for that call. I listened to that call. They have a house to sell too, it sounds like. Did you catch that?
Yeah, she did tell me that. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. So that, guys, what you'll hear from me is you'll hear me say those people are going to buy a house, right? I'll say like, oh, that's a kind of a shitty lead, or I'll be like, yo, those people are going to buy a house. When you hear me say that, it's usually correct, right? Like, and so like my spidey sense goes off, like those people are going to buy and sell a house, right? Whether it's today or tomorrow or whatever. So we have an opportunity to go and meet them, right? So that house right there. So really what I would do is are you comfortable with the verbiage of like meeting them and being like, hey, you know what, I just pulled up. They just accepted an offer. They had, I always make it sound like it's like too good to be true. I'm like, dude, it was over asking. They had cash. In order for them to like accept this offer, part of the terms and conditions were them to stop showing it. And I literally got this phone call as it pulled up. By the way, since we're together, this is happening often. And what I do is I ask open-ended questions. I say something like, what has your experience been like so far? Open-ended questions, right? And I'd be, hey, by the way, I have 2 other homes similar to this house that I can show you guys. Would you like to go check them out? And I'll take you guys through a script that I kind of go through when I meet these people, right? And so what I learned is if someone's not working directly with a real estate agent and they're just calling phone numbers on the internet, are they going to run into the same issue over and over and over? Do you think? Yeah. And is it our job to really like follow the mission statement and help these people achieve their goals? Yeah. Right. So like if we come from a place of contribution, like if you can think about it like that, which is really what we're doing, right? And Zillow hired us, and I always say Zillow, but it could be Opcity or whatever, but Zillow is the one that's been, when I say Zillow, they're the ones that are strategic and they understand the changing market and they understand the consumer, right? So like, Zillow understands the consumer is just frustrated having the same problem over and over, right? And they came to us and said, hey, are you willing to like just go meet with these people face to face and talk to them and help them, right? Because what's happening is, and what's happening on Zillow, and they see it, they're just calling in. These same consumers are calling in over and over and over and showing up on it's like the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So that's what's happening. And now they're like, hey, let's just stop these people, inform them on what's happening in the market, get them positioned where they can transact and have a better experience. Does that all make sense? And so what will happen is when I say to people, I just try to meet people where they are, and I'll say, hey, and I say this a lot, is I make it seem like it's normal, right? Like, oh my God, I can't believe this just happened. Like this is happening. Houses are selling pretty quickly. What's your experience been like with shopping for a home so far? Is this the first house you've gone out to see? And now I'm taking their temperature, right? Like, where are you at? Where are you, right? And they're like, well, they're like, they're going to be like this. They're going to be like, oh, wow, that's crazy. And you're going to be like, yeah, you know what? It's a competitive market. There's plenty of inventory. It just tends to sell fast. If I could help you get into a property before it even hits the market, or if I can position you to find a home before it has 20 offers and it's this house right here, is that something you might be interested in? Cool. Awesome. Well, I'd love to learn more about your, like where you guys are at. And I brought a couple other houses for us to see while we're together. And what I'd love to do is just show you a couple properties that are similar and learn more about what is important to you, really, because my team and I, we sell so many houses off market. The reason why Zillow connected you and I is where our buyers are winning right now is we're actually getting them in front of houses before they hit the market. We're getting them in front of houses before there's competing offers, right? And that's more of a proactive approach versus a reactive approach. You know, unfortunately, my partners at Zillow that we work with, they see often over and over and over, the buyers is calling in on houses and unfortunately they're just not available. And so what happens is if we're, you know, I'd love to work with you and learn more about what you're looking for. And then we can kind of put you into our VIP buyer program. I would write that down, VIP buyer program. I could put you into my VIP buyer program, and that would alert you from coming soon listings, off market properties, for sale by owners, you know, expired listings, canceled listings, back on the market listings and things like that. Give me some feedback on that. Does that sound like a conversation you guys can have with people?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Joe, there's always something to show them, even if you got to go to a different town. Like, I don't really care. Like, even if it's a townhouse, a condo, whatever. And if you can't find something to show them, just ping me and we'll figure something out. Is that cool?
I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question, Joe.
What's
In
up?
terms of when you're talking about your VIP program, VIP buyer program, and you have, you know, your obviously the active listings and your coming soons, you say for sale by owners or off market properties, do you just create like a spreadsheet of whatever you find on Zillow, for instance, or, you know, for sale by owner.com and send that over? How do you present that to them?
Yeah, good question. You've got to get in a relationship with me and I'll bring them to you. So they're popping up every single day from a lot of different areas. And so when we're working together and we're in relationship, I can bring those to you. So for instance, like we have agents on our team that are circle dialing. Our real estate team has gone on 200 listing appointments in the last 2 years. We listed about 25% of those, right? So we've got 150 people that we visited with that like wanted to like list wanted to like talked about listing their house. We will even, if you're working with us, we'll get on the phone and call the neighborhood that you want to be in. Right. So like, that's like, you've got to be on my, like, it's top of mind awareness, right? Like you've got to be on my radar for it to kind of work. Does that make sense? Like if I'm not in relationship with you, if we're working together, I can help you. If we're not, we can't. And so like, and the thing is that other realtors just aren't talking like that. Does that make sense? And so what they're doing is, and this is a way, what's happening now is you just want to get their attention so that you can get into a relationship with them. It's not so much of sending them the stuff. And like the thing is, and so like in our organization, who did I coach with yesterday? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Ethan or whatever. One of these people, right? Like Danielle. Like one of the questions I ask is who are the top 3 people we're working with? And then we look at them and we figure out like the people that are going like writing offers or we're showing homes to, ready to write. We figure out how to find them a house. And so like we will call under contract properties where they want to be and just ask the agent like, hey, is your deal like concrete? Can I be a backup? Can we write a backup and get into second position? Okay, cool. We go back a year and then we'll find every house that's sold in that neighborhood and we'll call every realtor and be like, hey, do you have anything else coming to market similar to this? We'll call that neighbor. We'll get the list from Mojo and we'll call the neighborhood. And so if you say that to the buyer, do you think that you sound different? And by the way, you have to actually do it. You can't just say you do it. You've got to go and do it. Do you think that you're talking differently than anyone that they have spoken to yet that they've like tried to like interact with?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so like when I hear that, because realtors are ding dongs, right? They're dummies, right? They are. Like the real estate license in New Jersey was on Groupon last year. I'll never forget that, right? Like you can go to Groupon and buy a real estate license. Like, so like, yeah, it's funny, right? So like if you can stand out and be different and have a different conversation, have a different approach, that's it. So what the consumer doesn't want is they don't want everyone's picking up the phone and saying that house isn't available, and then they hang up and that's the end of the relationship, right? And so we do business because we get into a relationship with people. And if in our organization, if you can field these calls, talk to somebody, set an appointment, go meet them, get in a relationship with them, you're going to sell them a house. And a lot of these buyers have houses to sell, by the way. They're like 2 deals in there, right? That's kind of it. Give me some feedback on that. Does that all make sense to everybody? Is there anything like really weird there?
No, it definitely makes sense.
Cool. Awesome.
Definitely.
Hey, Luke, are you, can you chime in here? Or are you,
Yeah, how's it going?
yeah, man. Have you ever gone to meet somebody that at a house that wasn't available and then you like wound up like working with them?
Yeah, so I was actually going to chime in and say what I do is, because, yeah, for the most part, the house isn't available. So you go meet them there, and then I'll schedule homes that fit that criteria, but are just in, it'll be like sometimes a half hour away in a way different neighborhood. I'll meet them there, be like, hey, listen, I have other houses to show you. They're not in this neighborhood. Be like, the area we can focus on later. I really just want to see what's important to you in a home. And then you go show them and how's this yard to you? How important is the yard? All right, great. How do you feel about like fixing up? And then it's like, all right, I know exactly what you're looking for. Let me go search that area. And then you go into the off market. I'll find you a home that, I know what you're looking for. Now I'll go find you,
Thank you, Luke. Does anyone have any questions for Luke, the master Zillow Flex killer? Yo, he's dangerous on the telephone. He's dangerous out in the field. Luke, thanks, man.
No problem, Jack.
Jason Gabriel, can you hear me? You don't have to turn on your camera if you're driving. I don't want you to die.
All right, I'm on.
Cool, man. Did you were you able to catch all that?
Yeah, I was listening intensely because it's all on point with what I've been experiencing with Zillow and Opcity past like 2 days or so.
Cool. So you're Point Pleasant guy for tomorrow. The house he called in on, can you get in there at all, or you still don't know?
I texted the listing agent about an hour ago. He hasn't responded. We spoke at 7 p.m. yesterday.
Okay,
so
cool.
I just scheduled. We're still scheduled for 9:30. Ideally, we can get in. If not, we have 2 more to go see tomorrow.
Perfect. Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
So you're definitely going to be meeting that guy. You're definitely going to offer him properties. And then I would just war dial that listing agent. Like I would just like destroy their lives. Like, yo, it's the weekend. It's the Jersey Shore. Everyone's shown 90% of real estate is sold on the weekend. Like I got to get in there, dude. Like I'd be like, my guys, like advocate for your buyers. That makes sense. Like I would call him 10 times today and I would war dial him as well, him or her. And if you could tell, I'm pretty ruthless with this stuff, but like, yo, I want to control my destiny. And this is how we control our destiny, right? This is how we have for the guys and girls, right? For the first time ever in real estate, we can have predictable income. We can measure the activities that we do to decide how much money we make every single month. Does that sound cool? Because before that, we weren't, man. Like, oh, I got some deals. No, I don't. I hope some people want to call me to buy some houses. Like that was real estate, right? And now we can predict what we're going to be doing and what we're not going to be doing. Cool. Feedback, questions on that? I'm doing like kind of a freestyle. I hope this is good.
Can I say something real quick about just to kind of add on to that? I was something that really helped me out. I was looking to buy a new boat and there's nothing available. Like there's literally nothing. And every marina I would go to, they're like, oh, we don't have anything. We don't have anything. Then I went to this one marina and the guy was just showing me all the boats that sold already. And he's like, what's important to you? Showing me different, outboards, different, center consoles, whatever. And he's like, all right, don't worry. Like, I'll go, I know what you want. I'll find the boat. I'm like, holy shit. Like, that's the guy now. So it's really just, figure out what they want and then go find it. So I don't know.
That was awesome, man. That was awesome. Cool. Thanks, Luke. Damn, I love you. I'm so glad Luke's here. Cool. Something else. I'm going to share something else with you guys really cool that happened this week that I think might help on follow-up, right? And then I'm just going to open up for questions. And again, we did this training was kind of like we call it a freestyle or whatever. When you guys have stuff that's like going on, right? I'm going to just bring it to the training. We're going to talk about it, right? Maria on our team had this Zillow Flex person, right? This is our Sierra. My pleasure. Cool. So Maria got a Zillow Flex person. She, and by the way, when I talk to you guys and I ask you for information and I'm pulling information out of you, it's so I can help you guys, right? Does that make sense? It's so I can bring it back to everybody else and be like, yo, this is what's happening. We should be so good. We should know every single outcome, right? So Maria, Zillow Flex person called in. She took him out that weekend and like wrote an offer, right? Like she was ecstatic. Poor Maria, dude. Sorry. She wrote like 3 offers. She lost all of them and her dad had a heart attack last Sunday. Things like everything's better now, but like she had a rough day. And shout out to her because she's like still crushing, right? So she went out and showed a house, wrote an offer, lost it, right? Zillow Flex person, right? This is the text she got back. Someone read this text out loud.
I'm sorry, I think we're going to take some time to just keep going, looking online on our own since we're not in a rush. We really appreciate all your help though. I hope your dad feels better.
Cool. What would 99% of realtors do at this point?
Write them off, give it up, give up.
Cool, thanks. That's a crappy lead. Yo, these people are going to buy a house. You hear me say this all the time. Yo, those people are going to buy a house. Because I get excited, man. Because I want to help these people, right? So, can anyone guess what Maria? Can you guess what Maria did at this point?
She should have kept on top of them.
Okay, what do you think she did? What's the last step in the post? What's the last step in the post?
I would have called them, but
okay, cool. But what's the last step on the post connection call checklist?
Call your team leader.
Call your team leader. She was unsure of what to do. She called her team leader. Someone read this out loud. Adria, it's all you.
I completely understand and thank you for the kind words. I wanted to mention that where our buyers are really winning is with our off-market properties and our coming soon homes. Are you only interested in homes on the MLS Zillow, or would you consider off-market properties as well?
How do you think they responded?
They would probably be interested in, yeah.
So she sent them a couple houses. And they wrote back, very nice. Unfortunately, too far south. For Brick, we were trying to stay north of Herbertsville, Burnt Tavern. Very nice house. Unfortunately, too far south. For Brick, we're trying to stay north of Herbertsville Road, maybe Burnt Tavern Road at the farthest. And I apologize in answer to your question today. Yes, I think we're open off-market homes, coming soon homes. Does that sound different than we're taking a break? We hate you.
Yeah.
Are these people going to buy a house?
Yes. And now she knows specifically the area.
Dude, not only are they buying a house, they just told you exactly where they want to buy a house. It couldn't be more specific. So now can you go to work? Can you go figure this out? Yeah, 100%, man. And so, right, this is where these are the inches. These are the inches. So she did not know what to do. I forget what day this was, but I just wrote the text for Maria. I'm like, we'll send this back. She was screenshotting me and we were doing this as a team, right? Maria wrote back, thank you for that. Thank you for that. I will note your file. Just to confirm, if the perfect house came on the market or if we found an off market, you'd still be interested in exploring that, correct? What exactly does off market mean? The seller just hasn't listed the house. These are our coming soon, for sale by owner, expired and exclusive listings. This is where our buyers see a lot of value. And this is why Zillow connected you to me. Oh, don't forget the emojis, you guys. It makes it so real. As we get into a relationship and I learn more about your goals, I'll be able to match you with the perfect home when I see it, either on or off the market. How do you think they responded? Adria, you want to read that one?
Then yes, we're definitely interested in off-market houses.
The fortune's in the follow-up, you guys. You just have to know how to talk to people, right? Does this make sense, right? So like every realtor is going to be like, these leads are awesome. They're so good, right? And so what happens is people just write it off. So perfect. I will add you to our VIP home buyer list and search high and low along with my team to find your dream home. And I wrote I put a detective emoji. It's out there somewhere. We just have to find it. Do you guys think Maria's working with this person or no?
Yeah.
Yes.
And through those like 5 text messages, what happened?
She's building a connection, a relationship.
Uh-huh. So guys, this is a chess game. If you ping me when you don't know what to do, I will help you, right? 2 heads are better than 1. And that's all I got. Was this helpful, you guys?
Yes.
Give me some feedback because I don't want to just like yell for an hour all the time at people. Like, I don't need you to tell me I'm great, but like if this is helpful, we'll keep doing this kind of stuff. The market, the real estate industry is changing. The consumer's changing every single week. So when we get on these calls and we talk about what's really going on and where people are winning and losing is how you guys are going to win, right? So success leaves clues, so does failure, right? And we can, and yeah, there's no reason why we shouldn't be closing a handful of deals a month. So I'll get you guys out of here a little early. Any questions, any ahas, any like, yo, that was really great. I'm going to implement that immediately. Any of that stuff from you guys?
I really like that script, the text script that you guys used with this last buyer with Maria. That was really cool because sometimes I just let people go, oh yeah, well, thanks so much. And I shouldn't. It's like you just kept going with that dialogue and building that relationship. And that's definitely one I'm going to be using. I need to screenshot. I screenshotted it.
Did you? All right, good. I'm going to go back to it. You got, yeah. So one thing to understand is, so this is emotional intelligence. Those people told Maria they were going to go look on their own and search online because why?
They felt desperate.
Yeah. Do you think they were happy or sad?
Sad.
Yeah. Dude, when people make offers, are their emotions up here or are they like down here? They're like up here, man. Like, you guys ever make an offer on a house? Like, I can't represent myself when I buy a house. I need to, I hire another like in Orange County. I was like, dude, will you please represent me? I cannot handle this. Cannot control myself and my emotions. And it's true. Like, it's too much, man. And so like, they just were sad.
Yep.
And just like talked, like they want to buy a house and like, and we just made it about them. Right. And not about us and got further in the relationship. So like, all this stuff is emotional intelligence and understanding people. And if you could do that, you're good, man. Because we're going to put them in front of you, like we're going to put them in front of you. And the other realtors they only care about themselves, right? There's dude, real estate agent should be spelled EGO, right? Ego, right? Like it's all about them and all that. But like, if we can really help these folks, that'd be great. Thanks for that. Yeah. Anybody else? Any ahas? Any questions before we wrap this up? Awesome. It's good to see everyone. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.